We had in last week's Parsha the laws regarding animals, the animals that are kosher, and different laws that regard to the animal kingdom. In this week's Parsha, we go on to speak about humans. The Parsha begins with Bris Milah, the mitzvah of Milah, and it goes on to other mitzvahs that have to do with the spiritual situation of a person. Rabbi Simlai, Rashi brings the opinion of Rabbi Simlai in the Midrash that says that just like in creation, the creation of animals preceded the creation of people, so too we see in the Parsha, the laws dealing with animals comes immediately before the laws dealing with humans. The idea here is as follows. One of the ideas is that animals were created before man is the entire creation is a progression. In other words, the animals are simpler creatures. They don't have the type of conscience, the type of intellect, the type of spiritual connection that people have. And therefore, as the simpler beings were created earlier, and the more complex beings, like humans, they were created later. And therefore in the Torah also, the laws, the more simple laws dealing with which foods we can eat, and laws dealing with animals comes earlier, and laws dealing with man also comes later. And the message for us is that we naturally, in our own development, in our own growth from being children, naturally we first develop the more simpler aspects of our lives. We grow physically, a child grows physically, and as we're a little bit older, we worry about our material needs. We worry about getting a job and earning a living, so that we can food on our table, that we can have a roof over our heads. So we take care first of our material needs. Our material needs, however, are more simpler needs. As we grow, however, we become more conscious of other types of needs, and that's the emotional needs is higher up on the ladder. Right? The physical needs are more animalistic. In other words, just like animals need to eat and they need a place to sleep, we also need that. That's more the physical, that's more the animal aspect. The emotional is more the human aspect. The emotional aspect is all about having friends and loving people and attaching ourselves to people, having husbands, wives, children, and being a part of society. All of this is the human development, and this is high on the level, and this requires work. This requires work. So while we're working on maintaining ourselves physically, we also work on maintaining ourselves emotionally. But then there's an even higher level, and that high level, that third level that's higher, that's the spiritual development. Intellectual and spiritual development. A person has the ability to connect with that which is not seen. Just like in mathematics, much of mathematics is all theoretical. It's nothing that you can actually point to. So similarly, our spiritual connections to the Creator, to the unseen Creator, to the upper worlds, heavenly worlds, all of this requires our intellectual faculties and not so much our physical faculties. We see with our mind more than with our eyes. This is the next area of development, and we have to reach that, and we have to work on that. And for a person who has matured emotionally, and who has access to spiritual growth, for him to turn his eyes, his focus back on material gain, for him to spend his whole life amassing wealth, so that's a tremendous tragedy, because he's regressing. What we need to do is we need to always progress. We have to go further. And we become further, we become higher, we become higher beings. And this is something that is for our ultimate good, giving us joy and self-satisfaction in this world and in the next as well.